it's about time though. We're getting very close to worrying about Keegan Murray watch, because Keegan Murray is in the same position that Kuminga was in last year, right? Where he was going into his fourth NBA season, and you're trying to decide how much money you're going to extend him as an offer. We don't know what Keegan Murray wants. We don't know what his people want, but we have Jabari Smith Jr.'s like 5-year, $122 million to look at. We have players who are making, 5-year, $150 million contracts. I think we're getting to a point where we're going to know what it is that Keegan's going to get. There's a deadline here. I think it's in October, the end of October, where you have to sign an extension or not. Certainly when you pick up the third and fourth year options of a player, that's right around, I think it's right around
the
Halloween.
Yeah, it's exactly Halloween.
Yeah.
It was Halloween of 2024 last year for this year that they picked up.
Yeah, so I think now we're gonna get into this, but I think while that's happening, we already know what Keegan Murray is. We can debate who he is as a player and all that stuff, right? But the real other question is whether the Kings are going to be able to retain Keon Ellis, whether they're going to be able to get him to an extension, and even more so, whether they're going to get him to an extension. Like, how do they manage who he is this season, right? And I don't know how they do this, because you have a player who, like, you clearly want to keep around. I mean, he's a very, very good player on a very good contract, and you have rights to sign him to an extension now. You can get him, maybe you can get him to sign a 4-year deal worth $48 million, or a 4-year, $60 million contract. I don't know what the dollar amount is going to be. But then you get to the other aspect, is if you do sign him and you do retain him, how do you play him?
What's the thing? They're just two timelines, I guess. They're stuck in two timelines.
Okay.
The win now thing with Zach Lavine, DeMar DeRozan, those guys, and then also the future with Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis, and we'll see who's the third person.
But do you feel like
it's like
two timelines if the guys that we're talking about are 25 years old?
Well, that's the thing. It shouldn't be. Like Keegan Ellis at this point in his career, if you feel like he's a starter, then probably should be starting. But given your roster makeup, that's just not possible right now.
Okay.
Like Keon Ellis. Like, yeah, Keon Ellis is a guy. Keon Ellis is someone you want not necessarily to build your team around, but you want to add Keon Ellis to the team that you're trying to build.
Yeah.
I mean, Duke can hit the three, play defense. What more do you want? But you also have Zach Lavine and these guys here. So there's just not space for him to completely flourish right now.
Yeah,
until you get rid of those guys, which is the whole 2027 thing or whatever.
Yeah, that's going to be the weird thing, because first of all,
you're kind of just telling Keon, and I guess not Keegan because he's starting now, but just more so, I guess if we're talking about future, just tell him, okay, hold on real quick.
Yeah.
For a couple seasons.
Okay, so first of all, Keegan Murray, shout out to Keegan Murray, and for that matter, Chris Murray. It is their 25th birthday today.
Nice.
August 19, 2000, they were born. That's just crazy. Yeah, I'm looking at this Keon situation, and you're right. It's complicated. The Kings have an option this summer to extend Zach Lavine. They chose not to. They're not going to have those discussions. Like, and that tells you that, like, look, Zach Lavine is going to be here 6 months. He could be here 2 years, but that's it. Most likely, he's only going to be here until his $49 million expires next summer.
Yeah.
Not next summer, the summer after, right? So he's got a $47 million contract, $49 million contract, and then he'll be an unrestricted free agent. Like, that's not saying that the Kings wouldn't have him back, but it would be at a much reduced dollar amount, especially at 33. So if I'm looking at Keon, though, can you ask a player to just, like, basically throw away 2 years of the early parts of your prime?
I mean, no, because that's not good for him. Like, for Keon Ellis, what does that do for me? Like, I'm not sure if there's a market out there or not for Keon Ellis, but yeah, he's 25 or however many years old right now. It's like, yeah, I don't want to wait another 2 years or whatever for me to have an opportunity here.
Okay, so if you're the Kings, how do you fit him into the system then?
He's one of your best role players off the bench, I guess. That's how. I mean, there's no aspect or no scenario where he can be your starting two until you get rid of Zach Lavine. Like
Okay.
there's just a big old wall in front of him right now.
Yeah, there's a wall, and for that matter, like we talk about,
It,
Zach Lavine has had plenty of injury problems in the past.
it's still problems that you're trying to fix from the last regime.
Yeah.
Monty, Wes, and Vivek, all three of them included. Like that's just we talk about how to fix it. You're still like you don't right now. There's no scenario until you can move Zach Lavine. Scott Perry and Doug Christ are kind of just stuck in a tough spot right now. Because ideally, I think you look at Keon Ellis, it's like, yeah, that's a starting two guard in the NBA. I think he's proved as much. He can knock down the three, like I said, play defense guard at that position. So it's like he can work going forward and things like that. But I mean, there's no spot.
Well, that and the style of player that he is a guy that usually, his age, his build, that he's the type of guy who's playing 35 minutes a night.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's your defensive anchor on the perimeter.
Yeah.
Right. He's guarding the toughest point guard and shooting guard that you run out there. And it just makes more sense for the rest of the team if you have two big time defensive players in your starting lineup, right? And Keegan Murray and Keon Ellis. So,
and looking at Keon Ellis' side, it's like that's not necessarily beneficial to me.
Yeah.
Because like, do you think I'll ask you, do you think he's a starting two in this league?
Keon?
Yeah,
I do.
And if we think that, I'm sure him and his team think that. And it's kind of like, why do I want to be not buried on the bench, but more so just stuck in this role where I'm kind of being limited because of bad roster construction?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest.
Like you have to sell him on it, I guess.
Yeah, you do. You have to tell him about the pathway forward because, again, if Kuminga plays for the qualifying offer this next year as Golden State, he becomes an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year.
Yeah.
The same exact thing with Keon Ellis. He's on a budget contract, $2.3 million, that he did not want them to pick up. He wanted to get an extension this summer and get real money. But the problem that you have now is that you picked up that money and you don't really have a true role for him. You got a role as a reserve playing, 18 minutes a night or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then, again, Zach Lavine played 74 games last year. He also, like right in the middle of the season, his wife had a baby and he missed time. That's one of the few reasons he missed time last year. He is a guy who has a career throughout his career has missed time due to injury, but the last couple of years, well, okay, he's got like 77 games played, 74 games, and bookend a 23 game season. But I do see a pathway in which he's playing most of the season, 75 games as your starting shooting guard.
Yep.
And Keon Ellis is just kind of left out.
That's kind of what I'm expecting at this point. I mean, I don't see just how anything else happens.
Yeah, so my concern is like, how do you convince somebody to stick around for 2 years knowing that you can't really offer them much?
Well, that's the thing. You got to pay the man then. You got to make it worth his while. But like you said, they don't really have that right now.
Yeah. And if for those out there who are wondering why we would think he's a starter, right? I look at him in the same way I look at, Danny Green at every stop that he made, or Andre Roberson when the Oklahoma City Thunder were really good and they had all of these scores around, and then you had this other guy who just shot threes and played defense. Guys like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who won a championship with the Lakers. Like these are guys that are valuable pieces.
He shot 43% from three last season, and he could play defense. That's why.
That's it.
That's why he can.
And the other thing I'll bring up, like his ability to shoot the three on a team that desperately needs 3-point shooters. Like, I don't know. Maybe you do look at him as, hey, can you go play the small forward?
Yeah, he shot 42% on 4 attempts a game.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty decent number, I think.
Yeah, you need 6 to 7 threes attempts per game from Keon Ellis this year to make up for the fact that other guys don't shoot the three ball.
Yep.
And the other problem I see is if you're going into the season and Zach Lavine and it's DeMar DeRozan at your 2 and your 3, you're going to steal minutes because of the point guard situation with Monk and with Schroeder.
Yeah.
So you're going to steal minutes at the 2. That means somebody's got to play small forward. And what does that mean for Neat Clifford, who I think everybody saw like a ton of promise in during Summer League?
As we talked through it too, like you look at Keon's game, it's kind of what the league is moving towards right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like everyone's getting the threes up. We've seen the Celtics are just the absolute extreme with the volume and things like that. But everyone, like that's just kind of where the game is going, where you're getting the threes up. Bart on the other end is kind of not figure it out, but just more so that's what's most important right now. Keon kind of fits everything that you need, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. And you look at a team like OKC, they have like 5 Keon Ellis type players. They do. You look at the good teams in the league. You look at Indiana, they got a bunch of dudes who can do this.
Yeah, Doug Christie's mentioned he wants to see more threes go up. I don't know if I'm just throwing a number that I made up in my mind, but I think he mentioned 50 once or something like that.
He said 50.
Yeah, he said 50.
I think he's okay with 40 to 45, but 50 is a number.
Point is, he wants to see the threes up, and you look around the roster, it's like DeMar DeRozan doesn't necessarily fit that. Zach Lavine maybe could, and you just kind of look around.
Domas,
like,
Dennis Schroeder,
exactly, they don't.
DeMar, 3 guys in your starting lineup that can't.
Keon Ellis definitely does.
Yeah, and
Keegan Murray does.
So you have Keegan, you've got Keon, you've got Zach Lavine. And then all of a sudden you start looking around going, okay, where am I going to get these other 3-pointers? Yep. I mean, I'm not counting on Isaac Jones to shoot 3 threes a game. I don't know if Neat Clifford can get 3 threes a game. If he can, that'd be great as a rookie, but I don't know. Malik Monk shot like 6.5 a game last year, but I think his role is being diminished greatly. So I just think it's like an interesting question because we are so concerned about Kuminga Watch. We're so concerned about what will come next is how is it that you're going to pay Keegan Murray? But then the next step is realistically, how are you going to pay Keon Ellis when your offer, financially is one thing, but your offer for who he is as a player and what he's going to get to do on the court is something totally different where, it's not like they're asking him to play a different style like the Warriors are with Kuminga. But what they are asking him to do is wait patiently while somebody else plays your position who just makes a bunch of money and there's nothing the team can do. And like, I'm not saying like Zach Lavine is a very, very good scorer.
Yeah.
He's an excellent scorer.
But he's also 29, 30 years old or however old. And it's kind of like, that's just the Kings aren't in a spot, I think team building wise, where it's like, yeah, Zack Lavine, we're ready for you to contribute here.
Yeah.
Zack Lavine is probably best suited on a contender team that's ready to start winning games now. The Kings kind of need to rebuild themselves.
Yeah.
Keon Ellis is young enough to where he fits that. He can be a building block.
Yeah. And I think the other problem that you have is that it's just so much money. Like, so yeah, the question is like Zach Lavine, where do you go? Like, how can you move him? And the answer is you probably can't.
Yeah.
Like there could come a point where you could, but realistically, I mean, you're looking at, like even if you were to wait till next summer and you were to stretch provision him next summer, which is crazy talk, but that means that you're going to have 16 million, 16 plus 16.3 on your books for 3 years. I mean, that's how much money he makes. And that's crazy. But then again, like a team like the Kings, if there is a way for them to make a bunch of moves, I would be surprised if the Kings had that much in dead cap space next season. That would be wild.
It's a tough situation, but we'll see with Scott Perry, how he's able to fix this because it's not looking great.